YouTube. What's good, guys? It's your boy TD, and I'm back again with another live, guys. And today's live is going to be on Geno Smith got traded, guys. Yes, he got traded to the Las Vegas Raiders. So I brought up a couple guests. We're gonna talk about that, and also we got a mock draft. And I'm not gonna super analyze every team, but we're gonna go over each team and tell you how you did. So, guys, thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. This is cutting edge content. What's going on, guys?
Not too much. It's good.
Yes, sir. So this is my boy RG, guys. How long you been following me, RG?
I think 2 years now.
Yep, RG's been following me. He's been in he's in a couple of my dynasty leagues. This guy's very knowledgeable, knows a lot about fantasy football. So I wanted to bring him up. And y'all have seen Maximus, y'all have heard Maximus, another guy that I really respect his knowledge. He's up here, and we're gonna talk about a little bit about Geno Smith. And then we're going to talk about 3 bounce back players. I believe you have to know guys that trajectory just going to change, because if you sit around and draft the same guys every year, then you're going to miss out guys. Things change. So I think these 3 bounce back guys that you're going to get from all of us is going to be really good. So anything you want to say, Maximus? Anything you want to say before we get started? Want to shoot out your channel, The Blind Spot?
Yeah, just remind people where they can find me. You can find me on Fantasy Blind Spot on Spotify. I do a show with Alex French. We talk football. We do a lot of fun segments, getting deep, a little bit of fantasy, get into IDP. Yeah, that's about it. You can find me on X at Maximus89112.
Right. Okay. Yes, guys. And we got I did about 3 episodes with those guys. Hey, it's really good podcast talk. Maximus, the way he breaks down his podcast, him and Alex is tremendous. You get the point of view as a GM, and I love that. Just helps you understand the players and how these guys can grow. So make sure you check that out, guys. Anything you want to say, RG, before we get started?
No, I think I'm good over here.
Okay. So I guess let's talk about the Geno Smith trade. RG, I'll start off with you. We got a comment real quick. Jake, what's up, Jake? Jake says, glad Seattle traded Geno. Never would be the reason they won a Super Bowl, not to mention he's 35. Injuries to him may end his career. Reason I think he got traded, maybe DK leaves now. Beef between him and Geno. What do y'all guys think?
I was pretty surprised about the trade, honestly.
Okay. You wasn't surprised?
No, I was, honestly. Like, I thought they were going to re-sign Geno.
Right. I wasn't surprised at all. Geno done his duty there. He was a bridge quarterback, a great bridge quarterback to keep that franchise stable once Russell left. So I wasn't surprised. I thought he would get traded. I never thought that Russell Wilson was going to go with Pete. I'm like, why would he want Russell Wilson? Him and Russell Wilson didn't get along at all. Russell Wilson was going to Pete Carroll's boss and trying to get him fired. So I didn't think they was going to get back together. But it makes sense for Geno to come to the Raiders, because the Raiders, if you can't get a top quarterback, then just get you a nice little bridge. You never know what a guy can do. You never know what Rich Gannon was going to do. You remember Rich Gannon, Maximus, where we thought his career was over. Next thing you know, he's playing with the Raiders, and he's at the Super Bowl. So I believe that Geno can hold everything together until they find a generation quarterback and just keep building on. And Pete Carroll is one of the best team builders that I ever saw. How do you feel about that, Maximus? Do you like Pete Carroll?
Oh, I loved when Seattle fired Pete Carroll, because I no longer have to worry about the Seahawks. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like, I love it. Like, Pete's going to build up that again. Just like, he's going to bring that culture. He's not going to stay there for them winning a Super Bowl, I don't think, but he's going to get that culture started there for sure. And now this trade now puts the pressure on Mike McDonald. You got to go find your quarterback now, right? Like,
right.
You only get one shot with the quarterback after you get rid of the guy that was already there. So got to get that right, or you'll be gone too.
Right. So RG, what do you think? Who you think this trade is going to benefit, if anybody?
Probably, honestly, I think it's going to benefit more the Raiders and Brock Bowers, because he has someone capable of throwing the ball to him. Definitely hurts Jackson Smith and Jigma as of right now.
Right.
Well, what do you think of Jackson Smith and Jigga with Sam Darnold, though?
Yeah,
that's where the big rumor is right now, that they're going to go and sign Darnold.
Right.
I'm not too thrilled about it at the moment, but things could change.
Yeah, I think JSN's game works with any quarterback, so I'm not too worried about it.
Right. He's a short area guy. He works the middle of the field, and he can run some deep routes, but he's mostly an intermediate guy, and I think that's going to help. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're going to bring in a quarterback who can have a high completion percentage because you need that in order to throw to a slot receiver. I think Sam Darnold would be okay. I think he learned a lot from Kevin O'Connor, so I think he'll be fine with JSN. I think JSN is going to be fine. I think everybody is fine. I really do. I thought it was a good trade. Sometimes it's just time to move on from a player. He's ran his course there.
Hey, Pete can't move on from him.
Who?
Pete can't move on from
No, because Pete don't care about high-end quarterbacks. He never has.
No, he wants to run the ball and do some play action pass.
You know it.
Down
you know it. And that's the way you beat top teams. People don't understand that. If you're going against a top team, if you can run the ball, you can sneak out a win on a top team. And so that's why Pete Carroll has always beat a lot of top teams, because he will always run the ball, and that kind of keeps the high-end offenses off the field when you're running the ball, slowing the clock down. And I believe Geno he's okay with making 25, 30 million, which Pete don't want to pay no quarterback, no 80 million. And I thought it was good for both sides.
Yeah. And I heard a couple of days ago from one of my guys in one of my leagues. He's a big Raiders fan. He actually coached Marshawn Lynch in high school football. So he was telling me that he was hearing that the Raiders are about to trade for a quarterback, and they're going to take Gianti with 6.
Okay.
And he talks to Marshawn still, so I kind of maybe Marshawn knows something, right? Because he's in with the Raiders,
right?
Like who he loves, like he's a Seahawk, but he loves the Raiders. So
right.
I don't know if he's hearing it from him or not, but that's just what he told me.
Okay, that makes sense. Let me see here. So guys, I'm gonna post. I think we got all the members in here that's here right now. I'm gonna post the link to get into the mock draft inside the chat. So anybody who hasn't got in yet, it's up to you. You can come in. Let's see. All right, let's go ahead. Let's talk about our 3 bounce back players. The first guy, I'm gonna put it on you, RG. Who's the first guy that you want to talk about that you think is going to be a bounce back player for 2025?
So my first one's going to be Jalen Waddle. Truthfully, he didn't really have too great of a season last year. He has proven himself to be a top 12 receiver, I think. So I definitely think he has it in him still to do it again. He's still pretty young. They just extended him not too long ago. So I think he has a better season.
Okay. What do you think happened last year? Who fault was it last year that Waddle do you think it's Waddle fault? Do you think it's Tua fault? Do you think it's Tyreek or the coach fault?
I think it's the GM's fault.
The GM's fault?
Yeah. Tua goes out and gets hurt how often, and you don't go out and get a capable backup. So once Tua goes down, all your stars stop. So that's on the GM. That's not on the coach. You can only do with what you got, right? So there's too big of a drop there. So that's on the GM.
I agree with that. What would you say in RG?
Yeah, I'm just gonna agree with him.
Okay. Yeah, I think it was the GM fault, and I think that's why Tyreek wanted to leave it, and everybody kept looking at it as being selfish. And I know, Sean, we disagree about some of how the players are handled. I know you don't like these players to come out and just talk shit off the top of the head for whatever reason. You don't like guys to you feel like that kind of destroys the team sometimes. But me,
that's not me. I love a guy that talks trash. I just don't like Tyreek.
You just don't like Tyreek, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Right. But I guess I thought what he was really trying to say, he didn't want to say it, is that he can't trust Tua anymore. And then when Tua came back, Tua couldn't stay in the pocket and get him the ball. So why should he be here and have 1,000 receiving yards when he can go somewhere and be able to break the record? But I think he was just trying to talk about it like, oh, I'm not winning, and people was focused on. He said he want to win. He don't care nothing about winning. He does care about winning, but if he had 1,500 yards, he'd have been okay. It's just that Tua, they don't trust Tua, and he didn't want to call Tua out in the media. Do y'all feel like that was true, or maybe I'm trying to push for something?
Yeah, I think
I could agree with that.
Stuff like with that mixed in with the police thing, pulling him out of his car for no reason. Like, I do agree with Tyreek on that one issue, but I think just a bunch of things compound it, right? And he just had enough and said something that was on his mind and whatever, but he's been backtracking ever since.
Right. But I think he backtracked because they called him and said, listen, we got a plan. Don't worry about if Tua get hurt. And so he changed. But if they don't, he didn't change just because they called him, was like, "Hey, why'd you say that?" "Oh, I'm sorry. I don't think it was that. I think they told him what he needed to hear."
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, let me see. We've got a couple comments in here. I guess, Maxim, let's get on to your bounce back player.
Bounce back. I don't know if it's bounce back, but I'm going to go with Romeo Dobbs. I think
Okay.
his little tantrum or whatever that he had to sit out, kind of like sat on the bench a little bit slow the next game, kept his mouth shut. Game after he
Right.
started coming on and the end of the season, I think you're going to see LaFleur is going to go, okay, we need a dominant YR1 guy. Yeah, I don't care who you are. You need a top YR, a running back, and a quarterback. You need that trio. And Dobbs is the guy on that roster that can do that YR1 spot if you let him do it. Stop rotating these guys. Just keep him out there, rotate the other guys.
Right. Or trade for a guy, because I mean, I think these guys are good enough, but they don't trust the guy. They don't let a guy get warm. They always doing this musical chairs with their wide receiver position, and I think it hurt Jordan Love, and I think it hurt the Green Bay Packers as the season went on.
LaFleur's
Somebody
trying to
has to be the number one. They got to be. It might not be like number one numbers, but they have to. You have to know. That guy has to know that he's the guy that they're going to look for when the game gets tight. And I don't think they have that on that team.
Oh, Romeo Dobbs can be that, man.
Yes, he could. I agree with that. I saw him. I like Christian Watson better, but Christian Watson can't stay healthy. So I got to move on from Christian Watson.
Packers definitely look better with Dobbs on the field.
Yes. Yeah. My first bounce back player is going to be Rashid Shaheed. Now, bounce back could be a hard term, but when he was healthy, he was a top 5 wide receiver, but he got hurt. I'm going back to that well again. I love the value that he's going to have this year, and he's a great deep threat. And as long as you have Derek Carr out there, who has one of the best deep balls that people don't talk about, I believe Rashid Shaheed is going to be good. And that team was playing very well, where they was running the ball and there was play action and throwing the ball deep. That team beat a lot of top teams early in the season with that formula while Rashid Shaheed was healthy. So I like Rashid Shaheed. How do y'all feel about Rashid Shaheed? Y'all think he's going to have a good season this year?
I like him. I don't know if go ahead.
It depends what they do at the quarterback position. Like, they sit in a spot where, let's say, Shador falls to them. They got to take Shador at 9. And now you got competition for Carr in the camp. But I think Shador can outdo Carr easily and then be the starting job. And if that now becomes the case, I'm bumping up Olive and I'm bumping up Sheed. And I think Sheed's better than Olive.
Right, I do. I've been saying that for a while. And I know RG, when I first said Shaheed was better than Olave, did you think I was crazy?
No, not really. They're two different wide receiver positions, I guess. I think Olave should be more in the slot and not a downfield guy.
Right. And I think you need to put Olave in the slot. And I think he could be one of the best slot wide receivers in the league. That's what he was great at when he was at Ohio State. Okay, let's go to our next round. I guess I'll start with you this time, Maximus. Who's your another bounce back player?
Okay, I got to go with another guy here at the wide receiver position. I don't know if this was going to be another bounce back, but his rookie year, he came on pretty strong at the end. Sean Payton kind of forgot about him last year, and then he kind of come on in the playoffs. But Marvin Mims Jr., I think, is going to have a big year.
Yeah, I saw him come on at the end. He was having a lot of big plays, making a lot of big plays for that team.
Well, because they're finally putting them in the lineup.
You're right. I don't know what Sean Payton saw or what he needed to see or whatever, but yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, man. I think he's going to be a good player this year. Do you still think he's going to have kick return and punt return duties, or no more of that?
Again, depends what they do in the draft, right? There's a lot of those guys in the draft that can do that.
Right.
So if they don't draft a guy, then for sure he is, because you got to have your best guy there. He's a game changer. Every time he touches the ball, it doesn't matter how he touches it.
Right. What do you think, RG? Do you like Marvin Mims this year?
I do. I actually have been drafting him in a couple of dynasty startups I've been doing.
Okay. Do you think he could finish as a top 36 wide receiver?
I definitely think he's capable of it. Whether he gets the usage to do it or not.
Okay.
Well, Bo Nix's playbook's going to expand too, right?
Yes.
Will include Mims in the slot, doing a lot more option routes and stuff like that, which he's really good at because he's got that quick inside speed.
Facts.
True.
Facts.
I think they're going to draft somebody else though too.
Yeah. Are they going to resign Cortland Sutton?
I thought they already did.
I don't know.
Did they?
I'm sure he wants a big contract.
Okay. So, yeah, Maximus said they already signed Cortland Sutton. So maybe they don't go get somebody high in the draft, but they could definitely bring somebody in the later rounds. I can agree with that. I guess I go to my next guy, and I kind of talked about this guy earlier in the week, but it's Dak Prescott. If I wait late to get a quarterback this year, it's going to be Dak Prescott. I believe he's going to have a great year throwing to CeeDee Lamb and whoever's that wide receiver too. It could be DK Metcalf. It could be Jalen Tolbert again. But I doubt it if Tolbert stays the number 2 because I think they need somebody a little bit more exciting, a little bit more explosive. But yeah, Dak Prescott this year, guys, he has a lot to prove, and I like to use that when I'm drafting players because it's the NFL, and sometimes these guys don't have nothing to prove. They don't play well. But when people start doubting them and talking junk about them, talking about you should be traded, maybe you come out and show that, no, this is my worth. So I like Dak Prescott this year. How do y'all feel about Dak Prescott? You think he's going to have a good season this year?
Depends what they do at the wire position, right? Like what's Jerry's plan? They need a running back, so
right.
They can't leave it all on Dak Prescott because it's just too easy to drop back your guys and know that they don't really have a run game, right? So,
right,
they would be good to go out and get Amari Cooper, who already knows Jerry Jones, and Jerry Jones takes care of his players. But now you're just bringing him cheaper to be the number 2 guy behind Lamb this time, which would work because he's an excellent route runner.
Yep.
So his game will like transfer well into like 31, 32 age. So sign him to a 4-year deal, fairly cheap. And away you go, right? Then I would trust Dax a little more.
Okay. Yeah, right. And I definitely know they're gonna get another wide receiver. That's why I'm kind of trusting that. And I think Dak's gonna be pushing the ball downfield to CeeDee Lamb. I think these guys gonna I wouldn't be surprised CeeDee Lamb have around 1,700 yards this year. I guess we got one more flow. I guess I go to you, RG. Who's your bounce back player? Your next bounce back player.
Mine's also going to be a quarterback. It's going to be Kirk Cousins. I think he's going to get traded, go to a team like the Browns or the Giants or something like that. I think another year off the injury as well. He didn't really look too good last year. I don't think he was completely healthy. Before he got hurt, he was a top quarterback. So I think he can do it again. He's not too old yet. So I think another year off that injury will do him a lot.
Okay. Yeah. How do you feel about that? You think Kirk Cousins is going to bounce back this year, Maximus?
Well, yeah, he'd have to go to a team with a timing system, right? Because that's all his game. He has no improvisation to his game whatsoever. It's all timing, and he's very good at that. So yeah, like the Browns and the Giants would be 2 good teams to go to because that's how they call their offense is all about timing as well, right? Which is Deshaun Watson's problem because he's not a timing quarterback; he's a field quarterback.
Right. Okay. So yeah, I guess we'll go to the next player. Maxima, who's your next player?
Well, I picked CJ Stroud, and I'm hoping that the Texans know they have to fix up that offensive line in this draft. And there's a lot of good guys. So if they fix up that line in the draft and free agency, CJ Stroud is going to bounce back. And I think he will be QB1.
QB1. That's interesting.
QB1.
Yeah, I don't know. I got CJ Stroud in some dynasty leagues, but I don't know if I'm going to draft him and redraft. And it could, he could end up being a top 5 or the number 1 guy. But I'm not going to get to him this year. I'm mostly aiming for those real top studs this year, like Josh Allen, Lamar, Jalen Hurts, maybe Jaden Daniels. But I agree with what you're saying. I do see CJ bouncing back somewhat, depending on how healthy his wide receivers are. Okay, so you done your last guy, right? RG, you did your last guy.
I have one more.
Oh, you do? Okay. Go ahead.
My last one's going to be Chris Olave.
Okay.
I think that the Saints are going to draft a wide receiver. I think they might get Ted McMillan. I think that would do him a lot if they put Chris Olave back into the slot like he was at OSU, like you were saying earlier. So he doesn't have to take those big hits downfield. Keep him healthier, play the whole season.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. I like Chris Olave this year because of the discount that I'm going to get him. I think it's great value for the talent. And I do think Derek Carr will play a little bit better, and he might not be the starter according to what Maximus says. He could get benched this year for Shadir Sanders. So either way, I'll be fine with it. But I would say probably Chris Olave would be a lot better, probably with Shadir. So yeah, I like that, man. I really do. I'm really high on Chris Olave. I'm gonna be pushing him a lot this year. How do you feel about Chris Olave, Maximus?
Oh, I love him. I love all those Ohio State guys. Anybody that Brian Hartline has had for a couple of years, you want to get those guys, right? Like,
Right.
that's why the Ohio State guys are just the guys to get right now. You got Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, JSN. Like, there's just a long list of guys lately that are there. And then you've got Jeremiah Smith, who is actually true freshman stud right now that
He's a stud.
they're gonna he gets to play with and mold like even more, and he's gonna get even better. And by the time the draft comes, he might even go 1.1. Like, which we haven't seen a wide receiver go in a long time.
Right.
No, he could be that guy.
Right. My last guy, and this is simple. I know Maximus are like this, is CMC. I love CMC this year. This is the best year. It's kind of, Derrick Henry kind of had this year last year where people kind of like, well, I don't know. He's getting older. Man, I'm not. If I get to the 1.9, 1.10, and CMC is there, how can you let that go? There's no way that I can't. I got to draft him, man. Even if he don't play another down, I can't sit there and say, well, he might get hurt. Well, he showed you he can overcome, and injuries are kind of, they here and there. They not consistent, right? You could have 2 injury years, and next thing you know, you off on the races, and you got a Hall of Fame career. Look at Saquon Barkley. We said he was injury prone, and he never can stay healthy. And now look, he's a first ballot Hall of Fame running back. So, how do y'all feel about CMC as a bounce back player this year?
I like it, especially like where you're getting him in drafts, like at the end of the first. It's crazy value compared to where he's normally at.
Right.
I would pass on him. He burned me last year. I took him first overall.
Right.
I get that.
I just couldn't do it again. Like, then no, one game from the 1.01 pick, you bastard.
Right. Right. But that's why I loved about it when something dropped, especially like in the stock market. When something drops, I want to buy it because it's going to go back up. And I'm willing to trust that CMC, because of his pass catching ability, even if he lost something, he's still going to be a great fantasy football running back, because he can catch passes. He could actually transfer to the wide receiver position if he got older and he didn't want to take the pounding at the running back position. I believe in CMC that much.
I think he should do that now. I've actually been saying that on our podcast.
Right.
They should move him
definitely
there, keep Jordan Mason, and pound Jordan Mason. Like,
right.
And get a speed guy that's a home run kind of hit.
Durando,
like
too.
What's his name there? Jaden Blue from Texas. Get
Yeah,
him and pair him up with Jordan Mason. Plus, you get C-Mac teaching them also in practice what they need to do, and then it just would work.
Right. Any running back in that system can work. That might not be CMC, but it can work.
Oh, yeah. CMC can just take it to the house every time. That's the difference.
Right. Facts. Let's read a couple of these comments. I'm going to try to do the members first. Cretch says, what up? What's up? What's going on, Cretch? He says, feel like Tyreek Hill is a good pick in round 2 this year. Is he not? I don't want to say a lot because I want to try to get the guy. I don't want people to be sniping him, but I'm still high on Tyreek. There's no way you bring back Tyreek and you don't give him 10 to 12 targets, because you see how he is. If he don't get those targets, he already didn't let the cat out the bag, so he's going to be talking shit if he don't get targets. So I think Tyreek could go 1,500 plus again this year. What do y'all feel?
I'm a fan.
Oh,
I would draft him again.
Oh, he can easily do 1,500 again, but I wouldn't draft him.
Right.
Just because I don't like him.
If Sean gets off of you, he's not going to draft you, no matter how good you are as a player.
He burned me last year.
Yeah. He hurt me too, but he won championships the past years before that. So
I don't think it was him so much as it was Tua going down again. So.
I agree.
Big thing to do with it.
Correct says, yeah, Shaheed is pretty cheap. Been buying him a lot. Facts. Yeah, he's very cheap this year. That Fantasy Network says a QB1, not a QB1. He's talking about CJ Stroud.
Yeah, he'll be QB1.
Let's see. We got we already did Jake. Let's do Aaron Holloway. Aaron says Pete Carroll or Miles Geno. That's why that trade happened. I just thought it made sense. I thought he's just a cheap quarterback that can actually win games. That's why I think that's the main reason why he picked up.
Did Aaron Rodgers still go today?
Did what?
Aaron Rodgers still go today? He had a plane trip booked there.
Oh, to where?
And then the trade dropped. So I don't know if he actually went to Vegas or not.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. Did you think they should have got Aaron Rodgers instead of Geno?
Why not get both?
No. No. I'm not bringing in two older quarterbacks like that to compete, especially with Aaron Rodgers, because if he don't win the job, then that's going to be a hell of a toxic locker room.
It's going to be anyways if he's on the team.
Right. Facts. I mean, I can. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It just depends what type of mood he's on. But I know if he's not starting, I know he's basically going to destroy the team if he's not starting. But if he's starting, who knows? He could come and be humble. Maybe they win a lot of games. Let's see. Dom, first in the building. Appreciate you being here, Dom. Ethan Carey, yes, sir. I see you in the mock draft. Guys, make sure you join the mock draft. We're about to do the mock draft once we go through these comments. Dom says kick. Okay, you're saying kick off the string before the UFC. KO says Raiders, let's go. My homeboy Jamie said, what's up, dude? What's up, Jamie? KO says, don't sleep on the Raiders. We coming. Wait, y'all think the Raiders can win the division?
Not
Tough
yet.
division to win right now. I'd just like to see somebody compete with the Chiefs near the end.
Right.
Instead of the Chiefs.
I think the Chargers will this year.
Yeah, I do too. I think the Chargers will. Actually, those teams that are going against the Chiefs are trying to build that run game. That's how you beat the Chiefs. So the Chiefs gonna have to stop the Raiders. The Raiders actually been splitting with the Chiefs the last couple of years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
they've been beating the Chiefs. So, I think the Chiefs gonna have to come out and play this year. I think the Chargers are a lot better, and I do think other teams will be better. Let me see. Kale says Geno had no O-line in Seattle. Yeah, they drafted some guys, but then they didn't end up panning out good as they thought. They had drafted like 2 or 3 guys in the first round. They supposed to be really good, and next thing you know, the offensive line is struggling, and the guys are hurt. Did y'all what happened to that offensive line in Seattle?
Well, they got rid of Pete Carroll and a whole bunch of other coaches. So,
right, okay.
Like Mike McDonald's not an offensive guru, right? So,
right,
he's going to be weak on that side of the ball.
Right. It's Sam Howell time. You think Sam Howell's the starter for Seattle?
I don't.
I've
actually been hearing a couple things that Seattle might look at Jalen Milroe, or not Jalen Milroe, Milton from the Patriots.
Milton, Joe Milton was playing. He was playing really good in the preseason. Rio James said Xavier Rutherford was arrested Friday night in Georgetown, Texas, on an assault charge. These Kansas City
family member,
wide receivers.
Yeah, of a family member choked them out, so they to the point they couldn't breathe.
That's crazy.
So it must have been a guy, some type of family, because they didn't
say. Right. Your family, man, that's one of the people you got to look out for when you become successful. That's crazy. Kale says Gina had 70% completion percentage. Let that sink in. Yeah, that's a pretty good completion percentage, but he also had a lot of turnovers too. Rio James said the Giants are reportedly looking at Russell Wilson. How do y'all feel about Russell Wilson for the Giants?
I think it'd be the Dable's job and Snead's job. So go ahead and hire them because they'll be shit again.
I'm not doing
Russ
it.
Sucks.
Rio James says, is it possible that the Seahawks are willing to give Darnold the 3-year deal he is seeking? No, I don't know. Maybe the 3-year deal, maybe it'd be just really a front-loaded deal, and so that way they can get off the books if they need to. Y'all think Sam Darnold's going to be good for the Seahawks?
Usable. I don't think it'd be good.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it just worked with Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah, I would only use him if I had to for a bridge quarterback. I would make the contract be front loaded, give him a lot of money up front, like 30, 40 million up front, but I wouldn't sign him no 3-year deal where he had to be on my books for 3 years. KO says Raiders are interested in signing Nick Chubb. Hey, Nick Chubb as a backup plan is always good. I wouldn't have him as my number one back, but as a backup running back to see how the injury how the injury heals, yes, I would do it. K9, I appreciate you being here, man. He says, would you guys trade a 2025 second and a 2026 second for Sam Darnold and Tucker Kraft? My weak spots are quarterback and running back. No, bro, go build it draft.
No, the running backs in this draft class that you're going to get at that 2.06 are going to be insane.
They're nice.
Right. I wouldn't do it. Okay. Let's get on this mock draft right here. Let's do this mock draft. Okay, I'm gonna make it the whole screen. There we go. All right, guys, I'm ready. Y'all ready? We're gonna start. Let's go.
Let's do it.
So yeah, guys, y'all want to talk about anything? You just, randomly we can talk about. It doesn't matter. Jamar Chase with the first pick.
It's super flex, like seasonal?
Yes.
CJ Stroud.
Yeah, he just want to prove his point that CJ Stroud gonna be the number one quarterback.
I would have taken him at 1.1.
Would you?
Yeah.
That's early.
Tyreek Hill in the first round.
Auto pick from the computer.
Yeah, it was computer. On Cretch, he goes Josh Allen. On RG, he goes Jalen Hurts. He said CMC. I'm scared of that team. That's what Kenny 49er says.
Yeah, I agree. Barkley. I like Barkley pick there.
Curry bot. You knew it. You knew it. If you didn't get Joe Burrow, I sure enough was right there.
Don't blame you.
Amon-Ra. I'm fading Amon-Ra this year, Maximus.
Are you?
Yeah, man. I with his type of draft capital, well, if he go in the second round, but in regular drafts, like in single quarterback, he probably won't. I don't think he's going to really be the go-to guy. I think everybody's going to be eaten. I think the main guy's going to be Gibbs.
I think Geno's going to have a big year.
Who?
Jameson Williams.
Yeah, I do too. I don't think he's better than Amon-Ra, but when they have the same amount of points or close, then that's going to make Jameson Williams be the better value. If Amon-Ra was going to be elite and get those top targets every week like he was early in his career, yeah. But this year, I don't think he's going to get that anymore.
Well, they're going to have a new coordinator, so we'll see.
Right.
Because Dan Campbell doesn't call plays.
Right. I know. Right. He just. I mean, now head coaches don't call plays, but they kind of tell you what they want. And I think he's going to want to keep establishing the run.
A chance, eh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I don't know. I can't get on board with him. I know he keeps performing, but I just can't do it.
Right. I actually like the running backs that are used like this because it keeps me where I can get him. He's never going to really be that guy that's going to always get like 25 carries, but he's going to get the honey touches. And reason why I always talk about the honey touches, I think the honey touches, man, is how you're going to be able to distinguish who's the number one running back or who should you draft. As far as 100% of the carries, I don't think we're going to see that a lot anymore.
Oh, see, and I think it's coming back with this draft class.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're already starting to see it, right? Like Josh Jacobs was holding the ball. We had Derrick Henry pretty much, if as long as they're up or in the game, then he pounds it. 49ers pound it. Like it's coming back. Guys want that one guy.
I could agree
I think
with
they
that.
always going to protect Jahmyr Gibbs with somebody. I don't think nobody, unless it's a single game, I don't think they ever going to want Jahmyr Gibbs just to be back there by himself.
No, I don't think so. Keep him fresh and those legs going, right? So
Right. Yep. Let's see. We got Kenny's 40 running backs. Who gets passes? HA get Mads passes, right? He does. He said, "Damn, TD, you won already." Yeah, this is a better draft. Hey, the number one spot is hard. Last week it was a little tough, but Superflex helped me out a little bit. I got to get a couple of my guys. Post gangsters, great point on Amon-Ra. Right. I really believe that. You just don't fade players just because, it's not about being that you suck. Sometimes you have to fade a guy because the offense of scheme is going to change a little bit. I like Justin Herbert because they showed me this last year that they believe in Justin Herbert. They'll let him cook when the time comes with Ladd McConkey. So I love Ladd. I'm very high on Ladd. How do y'all feel about your team so far? How do you feel about your team, RG?
I got 2 solid quarterbacks. I really like Trey McBride. I got a good RB so far, so no complaints.
What about you, Maximus?
I'm all right with it. Other than Gallup, taking a little chance there with the Brad Johnson acquisition. But with the quarterbacks that were left, it was either him or Purdy. So
right,
I went with the upside because I know Purdy's going to be solid.
Right. A lot of people don't understand what you said right there. I agree. You got it's just because you're good, you got to go sometimes upside. I think upside win you fantasy championships.
Yep, for sure it does. You just got to get the right guys in the right year.
Yep.
Like right here, 6 to 9 is where you win your fantasy championships. I think.
Come on now, come on, preach. Kenny says Brian Thomas Jr. with Cam with Cohen as head coach. I'm on board. Yeah, I love Brian Thomas Jr. I love Brian Thomas Jr. Liam Cohen. Yeah, Liam Cohen. He says, I want to know where Brandon Ayuk is going to play. If he's going to play at all next year, he might wait. He might not come back until like week 6 or 7. I'm not drafting Ayuk. I'm going to let somebody else figure that out.
I don't think he gets traded either. I think he's still in the Niners.
I hope not. I've wanted him gone since they drafted him. We could have had CD fucking Lamb for Christ's sakes.
Y'all could have had CD Lamb win.
Friggin' when they took Kinlaw over fucking CD Lamb. And then they took exactly. Javon Kinlaw.
Oh, Kinlaw. Wow.
Yeah. And then they took Ayuk. Then they let the Cowboys draft Lamb. Then they took Ayuk later.
Okay. Going to be hard to trade him. It is he's hurt. We also could have had Michael Parsons instead of Trey Lance, right? But I'm not going to sit here and say you could have had Michael Parsons. Nobody knew what Michael Parsons was going to be. Nobody knew he was a pass rusher. Now, could you have used him at the linebacker spot? Yeah, I still think he's out of position. I don't think Michael Parsons is an edge rusher. He's a middle linebacker that's special. Just because Michael Jordan can play in the post, I'm not going to put him at center. Yeah, I take George Pickens right there. Why not? He got some upside.
Oh, he's kind of getting in Tomlin's doghouse.
A little bit.
Right. I love David Njoku. Good pick, Curry Bot. Yeah, we just heard he said Xavier Worthy rested. I'm sure y'all heard. Yeah, that's crazy. This is just random. I hate to go through. I still have to battle with this. Actually, Maxim, sent me some stuff, and I thought it was, I had to kind of decompress. But sometimes, man, as an athlete, you got this ego where you want to handle stuff when somebody challenge you. And I think it's the culture of what sports teach you. Because as a football, you got to take things personal. If you don't, somebody will hurt you out there. So you have to get mad and angry to prove points. And I think when football players come out the field, we don't know how to deal where somebody spit in our face or somebody taunts us like to walk away. You haven't done that for 20 years. So all of a sudden to start doing it is very, very tough. And I like to give these guys a little bit of grace. Go ahead, Maximus. What was you saying?
5 seconds for you. 4.
Oh, okay.
I didn't think you were paying attention.
I wasn't. I had my cue set, though. I should have got another quarterback there.
Damn, I was hoping Bryce would come back to me on the.
Yep, nice draft. So let's talk about some of these teams real quick. We ain't gonna take a long time doing it. I guess we look at the first team. This is from Fantasy Network. Appreciate you being here, bruh. He went Jamar Chase, Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas. Love the 0 RB strategy. So far, the only thing that I would say is I usually, that's how I draft most drafts. But I believe that the running backs, man, it's certain running backs that you can't skip. Like if you skip Derrick Henry just to go get, let's say, what would be, who was at his ADP, a wide receiver last year, guys? When you was picking Henry, who was also there as a wide receiver?
AJ Brown.
AJ Brown. Yeah, AJ Brown is superior, but why in the hell would you ever skip Derrick Henry to knowing how he's going to get all goal line carries just to get a wide receiver team? That's where sometimes I don't like doing it when I can get value at the running back position. But those 3 receivers, I can't challenge you. Genty, Hampton, I think that's Ricky Fever. And that's what I got on a lot of people last year about this with Marvin Harrison. A lot of you just didn't care. And I understand that because sometimes, man, fantasy, you just pick who you want to pick. Look at Sean. Sean said, I don't care what Tyreek Hill does. I'm not picking him. I don't care if he get 3,000 yards receiving. I respect that. But right here, getting Genty and Hampton, I don't know, man. It just depends on what Genty go. He might not start off. Look at Jahmyr Gibbs. He didn't start off getting the carries immediately.
Well, here's the question me and Alex have been asking, TD.
What?
This is actually what's happening right now is more GMs like Omar Hampton over Gianti. So what happens with this rookie draft class if Gianti's now the second or the third running back off the board? and not the first. It just blows this class right up.
Right. So what are you saying? What are you saying?
I'm just saying Giante might not even be the first running back off the board.
Right. But people still gonna probably want to take him just because of the name and what he did in college, right? Did you thinking people would still take him in the draft in the drafts in their startup rookie drafts? Far as the number one running back.
It'll be interesting if he doesn't go first. Like if he's not the first running back off the board, you then got to pause and look into it, right? Because
right.
The competition that he faced was lower competition than the other top-rated teams that were in that final tournament. And then when he got in the final tournament, he had touched the ball 30 times. He only ran 104 yards, and he barely had like any. I think he had 14 yards in the air, something like that. Like So he's held in check, which is also making teams step back. And then his size, he was a little smaller than they thought. And then you got Omar Hampton, who they like, but they thought he was smaller than what he was, so he tested in bigger, and then he tested faster and stronger and everything. So like he really climbed up boards, and right now he's the 60% of the GMs are like in Hampton over Giante.
Right.
Yeah, I hear that too.
And then you
get a good combine.
Right. And then Kyler Murray at the 6th round and Brock Purdy, I think those are good values. So I'm not gonna say anything is super flex. And Evan Ingram just got released. He's injury prone. I'm not gonna sit here and knock it because he's been a top 5 tight end when he's healthy. I think this team is solid. I think you got the best wide receiver core probably in this whole draft. I don't really like the rookie running backs. Maybe just because I don't know the landing spots. The quarterbacks are solid. I get his team. I'm gonna grade a little tough today. I get his team a B, just because of the receivers. What do you say, Maximus?
Yeah, I'd agree. But I personally like coming at least out of the first 3 rounds with the quarterback.
Right. What about you, RG?
Yeah, I'll agree. The rookie running backs up in the air. Ingram doesn't have a team right now, but you can't complain about those 3 receivers.
Right. We're not gonna do the computers team. Let's do Nifty. Let's do Nifty real quick. Okay. So I guess one of y'all go ahead, Maximus. I'll let you kind of break this one down.
Well, same sort of breakdown, but just instead of going with the running backs for the next 2 picks, went quarterback, which kind of make up for it. They got Herbert and Dax. Wide receiver, they started with Lamb, Puka, and Nico, which are all 3 great wide receivers to have again. Now you got decent quarterbacks you can count on week to week to put up big numbers.
Yeah.
And then came back with
Chase Brown and James Conner.
Yeah, and then finished with Tyler Warren, which again, tight ends, I think a rookie class right now to take one there. It'd be too hard for me because they're so dependent on the coaching scheme and what's going on, and half the coaches in the league don't even know how to use the tight end position properly. So I have to wait to see his landing spot before I even judged him going there. But that's where he'd probably be going anyways.
What would you rank the team?
I'd probably B plus because I like the quarterbacks better, and the running back situation's probably a little better than the other one too.
Right. What would you say, RG?
Yeah, I'd probably give it a B plus. My only knock is Tyler Warren. Really scheme dependent, and most of the time rookie tight ends don't pan out the first year. So that'd probably be my only complaint. But I also think that Cincinnati brings in another RB, so Chase Brown might not be as valuable this year.
Agreed. I think he'll be fine. I think he'll have a nice role, kind of like a Jahmyr Gibbs did his first year. So I think Chase Brown will be fine. I think he'll get the honey touches. That's what I'm banking on. But actually, guys, I think this team is an A-. He has probably, as of right now, I think that's the second best wide receiving core. 2 great quarterbacks that I like this year that's going to be putting up numbers that's going to be pushing the ball down the field with good wide receivers. You got Chase Brown, who was a top 5 running back this year. You got James Conner, who was a borderline top 5 running back. So he got 2 great running backs in the 6th and 7th round. Great value. And then he went and took a chance with Warren with a tight end at the end where all the tight ends had been picked over. I'm okay with that because you can move on from that tight end. This is probably the best team as far as the first 3 teams I'm looking at. I'm gonna give it an A-. Do y'all think I gave it too high of a grade?
I don't think there's really much of a difference between a B+ and an A-.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's just how you say it.
Right. Facts. Let's move on to Aaron Holloway. Let's see. Jahmyr Gibbs, first round 1-4. I'm not mad at that. I think he's one of the most explosive players in the NFL. Brock Bowers, go ahead and get that one, because most leagues only have one tight end spot. So go ahead and get the best guy. Bo Nix in the third, I think that's a little overzealous. Jackson Smith and Jigba, I like him with the DK rumors. Bucky Irvin in the fifth is good. I love Jamison Williams in the sixth. I love Jordan Addison in the seventh, and I like Bryce Young. I think this team
I do not think that was a reach for Bo Nix there, because
I do too.
No, I don't.
Oh, you don't?
No, because where I picked DJ Moore, I was looking for Bo Nix. I didn't think he got taken, and then I looked, and I was like, "Oh fuck, he already got off the board."
Right. Yeah, I like Bo Nix here.
What's second year with Sean Payton? Look at how he grew. Like go watch those first 5 or 6 games, and then when he lost it on Sean Payton, he's like, "What do you want me to do?" They fucking ran the wrong fucking route, and then his playbook started growing each game after that, and like he got probably to half the playbook. Now he's probably going to be at 75% this year because Bo Nix is a pretty smart guy. He's played a lot of football, so I think he's going to take another step forward.
Right,
I agree.
I like Bo Nix, but there's no way I can draft him over Herbert. That's my opinion. Y'all might not think Herbert's high, and I can get that. I see what you're saying, but Herbert and Prescott.
He's more mobile though.
Well, Herbert's also got Jim Harbaugh, who's always going to be a run first type of coach. So Herbert takes a couple steps back. Like he's the better quarterback, clearly more talented, but the situation for him isn't as prime as is with Bo Nix.
I thought that too into last year, where they became a pass first team, and they actually probably shouldn't have done it in the playoffs game, but they was passing the ball. They put the game on Justin Herbert's back, and that showed me that Harbaugh does know what type of quarterback he has, and he does know what type of team he has, and he will pass it when he needs to. And I know Herbert might not have the upside that Bo has, because we know that Bo was going to put the ball in the air with Sean Payton more than Herbert. But I believe Herbert, when it's time to come, they playing against Kansas City, he will be willing to deal into whoever those wide receivers and tight end positions going to be. And I think that's good enough. I think he can win you a championship, but maybe we splitting hairs here.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think Herbert's a better. I think Herbert's a better quarterback, but fantasy wise, Bo Nix runs more, so I prefer him.
I agree.
Bo Nix is going to have more boom games.
Got you. Ethan says C+. Aaron always says all the good quarterbacks was gone, so I had no choice but to pick Nix. Right, got you. I'm gonna get his team outside of the Bo Nix. Damn, I guess I want to go another A-. I guess I go another A-. Because the Bo Nix, I was gonna give it an A, but the Bo Nix makes me give it an A-. What would you say, RG?
I'm like the A-, like high B+ range. I like this team a lot.
What about you, Maximus?
I'm not into the A range. Probably like a B or a B+, somewhere in around there.
Okay. Nix will get a wide receiver and a tight end. He'll be good. That's what Kenny 49er says. All right, let's go ahead and do Maximus' team. I'll let you start off with RG on this one.
CJ Stroud, Amon-Ra, Josh Jacobs, DJ Moore, Caleb Williams, Ramondre, Keon, and Brian Robinson. I think CJ Stroud definitely has a good year. Amon-Ra, I mean, like he's probably going to be like a top 6, top 7 receiver this year. Jacobs gets a lot of usage. I think if Chicago doesn't bring back Keenan Allen, it helps DJ Moore and Rome out a lot. I like to stack with Caleb. Ramondre let me down a lot last year, but I could see him having a lot of use with Vrabel there. Not too sold on Keon Coleman, honestly. I'd rather have Shakir. And then Brian Robinson's fine. I'm probably like a B+ on this team.
I don't like the CJ Stroud pick at the 1-6. I think it's a little you could have waited and got him. I believe maybe not. It is super flex.
I cannot pass on CJ Stroud.
Right.
It's
The
just not going to
Amon-Ra
happen.
The Amon-Ra St. Brown pick, I think it's a solid pick. You're getting a top player of his caliber in the second round. Josh Jacobs in the third is a good play. DJ Moore right there is solid. I'm not gonna go off his pass because I know he's gonna get better with a young quarterback. So I like DJ Moore there. I'm looking at what was on the board. Jackson Smith and Jigba was already gone. DK was gone. I would draft DJ Moore over Debo Samuel. So I think that was a good pick. Caleb Williams to me, I would rather have Dak Prescott was gone. Yeah, I think that might have been the best quarterback left on the board without overdrafting somebody.
Baker was there. I think
Who?
I'd rather have Baker.
Baker's still out there.
Yeah, you had to go for the ceiling, please. I get it. Ramondre in the 6. I'm not. How can I complain about a running back in the 6? The only thing that I can attack it a little bit is he fumbled, and the New England guys they weird when it comes to like benching a running back. They the only team that does that type of shit. Like if you fumble, they'll sit you down and shit. So that makes Ramondre very volatile to me. Keon Coleman, it's just too many mouths to feed in Buffalo. I don't know what the hell Josh Allen gonna do. But Brian Robinson,
I'm betting on Coleman here having a bigger year because he's got in his second year now in that offense.
Right.
He had a small route tree. He had a lot to learn. He was very raw. It's just he's very tall and big, right? So it's another big guy for Josh Allen to easily see, and those jump balls are going to come. And I think this year they're going to start. It might happen like around week 6 or whatever, but those back shoulder fades in the end zone, I think you're going to see him get a lot of touchdowns this year.
I like that. I can see that, and that's a projection of a wide receiver of his caliber. I agree with that. Sometimes, man, your team might be getting your ass kicked before he actually started getting that though. But I can, if it starts off early, it'll be great. But if it starts off like week 6 or 7 in the second quadrant, if your team ain't already winning, got a winning record, you could struggle and could keep you out of the playoffs. So I kind of like to get guys that's gonna get targets all year long. But in this round, I guess it's a pretty good pick. Brian Robinson, I get that. This year, man, I don't know what the hell they're gonna do at running back. They might draft somebody. Austin Eckler might stay there for one more year. I don't know, but it's the last pick.
I think he's under contract still.
Who?
I think Eckler's still under contract there.
Yeah, I think he is, and they could probably draft somebody. Maximus, I'm gonna get his team B-, man. It was just the CJ Stroud. Listen, and that doesn't mean this team can't win no championship because the formula of your team, you got good players. But I try to judge hard because I don't want to keep saying A, and B. But I think this team is a B-, and the reason why I say that is because the CJ Stroud was picked early. Ramondre Stevenson won the Patriots. And kind of Keon Coleman and Brian Robinson being kind of part of a committee, and we don't know what's going to happen. So that's what I would say. Let me see what the comments. People in the comments.
I'll say this: Washington won all their games when Brian Robinson Jr. got over 100 yards. When he was hurt, that's when they went on their losing streak.
Yeah, I agree. Because I had Brian Robinson. I paid a damn second. No, I think I played a first and a second for him because I was trying to win this year, and I know I had to overpay. And I got to the championship game, but he just wasn't playing good down the stretch. I don't know what happened.
Oh, he was hurt, so they were playing.
Yeah, I think he got hurt. Okay, that's what happened. All right, let's go ahead. I guess we'll go ahead and do me while we up here. Maxim, I'll let you break my team down.
All right, first 4 rounds, you got Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes as quarterback. Can't go wrong there. For the current Mount Rushmores that we got in the game. Running back, you got Derrick Henry. I'm not as big as him as you. Same with A Chance. But then you came back for receivers. You went Flowers in the 5th, Pickens in the 7th, and Rashid Rice in the 8th. And George Kittle is your tight end at round 6, which I like a lot. Don't particularly like any of your wide receivers. I don't like small receivers. I think George Pickens in the doghouse. I think Rashid Rice is going to take a year to fully come back from that injury to trust his knee. So, but in the 8th round, you can't go wrong, right? Like you decide to leave your wide receivers. So you can't really take that against the team because of how you built the team. So I'd probably go B. No, okay. B+, B+.
Right. What did you say, RG?
I'm probably gonna go B+. I like Lamar. I like Derrick Henry. I like A-Chain. Not big on Mahomes, but I think he could have a bounce back year after losing in the Super Bowl. I like Kittle. you've got solid receivers. Rashee Rice is not someone I'm touching. Plus, like he was saying earlier, it's probably gonna take a year to come back from the injury. Plus, he's
He
gonna
could
miss the
start it
games.
on
Like he's gonna get suspended.
Yeah. I was just gonna say that.
Yeah, my receivers are the weakest spot on my team. I was also talking, but I thought reason why I took Rashee Rice at the end, I got Pat Mahomes and I was getting him at the end. Flowers is a small wide receiver. I just believe in the talent. I just believe in the talent, man. I believe that if he played that game in the playoffs, maybe they win that game. When I haven't seen nobody really lock him down. I saw him drop a couple passes. So I really like Flowers. I think Flowers could be a top 5 wide receiver, but it's hard to do that when you have so many weapons out there. Like you got Isaiah Likely, you got Mark Andrews, you got Derrick Henry. I think Zay Flowers is just as I would say he's on the tier of Amon-Ra St. Brown, but he's not as good as Amon-Ra St. Brown. But I believe that Zay Flowers could be a special wide receiver. And Pickens, man, I'm just drafting for upside. I don't like his consistency. I don't like how Pittsburgh's how they do with their wide receivers at this point in time in the quarterback position. But I took him for the upside because I know he can make big plays. And Rashee Rice, I just took him because I already had Pat Mahomes. So I agree. I would rank my team probably B plus. As the wide receivers are, they not top tier guys, but everything else, I love Kittle. I think Kittle's could be the number 1, number 2 tight end this year with no Debo. Pat Mahomes is going to ball out because you know how Andy Reid plays. So I'll always take that as my second quarterback. That's a value pick right there. This is Pat Mahomes going in a 4-6 of a super flex. So yeah, I agree. I say it would be about a B plus. Let's go on. Let's move on to Kerry Bot. I break this down. He went B. John Robinson at the 1-8. Love that. Joe Burrow, Drake London. I like Drake London. I'm not super high on him, but I'm not gonna sit here and kill that pick. DK Metcalf. If he gets traded to the right team, that's gonna be a really good pick. And you took Anthony Richardson. I like the upside. If he fails, you might be tough for you to bounce back from that. But if he hits and can do decent and keeps his starting job, that'll be a really good pick. Then you package them with Michael Pittman. I like Michael Pittman. I think he has a lot of talent. He just needs some targets. And then Njoku is one of the best tight ends. He might not always have the greatest quarterback throwing the ball, but this team knows that he's probably their best option on the offensive side when passing. He's a 6'5" guy who can jump one-hand balls in the red zone. And Tyrone Tracy, right? It's so many running backs, man. I'm nervous about these guys, but why not draft Tracy before? I mean, we in March, so that's a good pick right now. But I believe somebody else gonna come and Tracy's gonna have to beat him out. I'm gonna give his team I would say a B. I give it a B. What would you give it, RG?
I'm thinking like a low B plus. Like I like Bijan, I like Burrow. Drake London will be fine. I would like DK if he got traded more, maybe to like the Patriots or something. Richardson's hit or miss. I think Pittman, he could have a better season this year. He was playing with like a fractured back last year all year.
Mm-hmm.
I think Njoku will be fine, and then Tracy's fine right now, but I agree they're probably going to bring someone else in. Especially, he was fumbling a lot toward the end of the year.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Maximus?
I'm gonna go C plus just because I'm a Gators fan, and I've been saying since day one Anthony Richardson isn't gonna work out. So that to me is just a throwaway pick here in the in the 5th round, which is like your last kind of premium pick.
Mm-hmm.
I would have rather see Brock Purdy go there. Any of these other ones that went after him over Anthony Richardson. He's gonna. It's like. What was it? Michael Lombardi said it best. It's like you're an amateur golfer and you go out and you play friggin' 17 rounds of golf and you fucking suck. And that 18th hole, somehow you hit par, and now you're the best golfer and can't wait to go out and again. That's Anthony Richardson. Comes out 3 games, he sucks. He has 1 fucking game, he's good. You're like, he's the greatest fucking guy in the world. And nope, he sucks again. So, and he's been like that since his high school days, and nothing's ever going to change.
Right. I love the way you broke that down. Yes, that's what he did. And I had him in a couple of leagues. I actually traded for him. I had Jalen Hurts, and I think Jalen Hurts' kind of trajectory is kind of going down for fantasy. So I wanted to get Tyreek, so I had to package a deal. I'm still okay with it. I mean, even if it doesn't hit, but you're right, man. Anthony Richardson, he got benched and he's volatile. I don't know how they made him look so good his rookie year, like the first 4 games, but he looked a lot better than he did his rookie season than he did this season.
Well, he didn't really do much those games. It was his rushing that did
Yeah,
it.
it was the rushing, right? And that's why I drafted him. And that's a lot of times that's why I draft the guys, just for the rushing ability.
Yeah.
Craig says Zay Flowers over Worthy, J-Mo, and Higgins. Yes. Worthy, no. I like Worthy a lot this year, but he just got I couldn't draft him. I got a sour taste in my mouth. This dude can choke somebody out. I don't got time for that. J-Mo, I love J-Mo, but I'm going with Zay Flowers as to get more targets than J-Mo. Higgins, you right. I could have went Higgins with the type of team that I had. Higgins would have been a good pick for the heavy RB team that I got. But I had Lamar, so why not get Zay? I like the package I got. So this is what I feel. When I get to the red zone, I'm gonna get when Baltimore get to the red zone, tell me I'm not gonna get 6 points. I got and I'll probably pick up likely too. But I got Zay Flowers, Derrick Henry, and Lamar. Don't you think I'm gonna get those 6 points 80% of the time?
That's a bad team to want to get all their 6 points from.
Right.
They like to run the ball and control the clock.
Right. And I'm okay
I'd
with
rather
it
have
because
the 3 guys from the Bengals because like they got no fucking defense. They're throwing the ball all over the place.
Very
They're
true.
putting up points.
right. I'm so either Lamar or Derrick Henry is going to be the number 1 player most weeks, and I'm okay with this. So if Lamar only gives me 17 points, but Derrick Henry gives me 45, that's my point. I squeezed to get the boom. And if you get a couple guys, I've got beat by teams where they had 2 guys score like 40, but the rest of the guys sucked, and I still lost. And I had guys that scored decent through my whole team. So I'm just trying to get somebody to boom. That's why I like drafting players on the same team on elite offenses. Like I like having Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow and T. Higgins. That way, I'm like somebody's going to have a big game, and the other guy only has 6, 7 points. It's not going to hurt me. That's how I see it. But I get what you're saying, Maximus. They run the ball. Next thing I know, Derrick Henry got 110 yards, only 1 TD. Lamar with 15 points, and Zay Flowers with 3 catches, and they won the game. Yeah, that can happen.
No, that like I just don't think like Baltimore gets behind, right? What happens? They take Derrick Henry right completely out of the game. They bring in whoever, Keon Mitchell,
That's
whatever,
true.
freaking Justin Hill, and Derrick Henry's out of the game. And then now you got Lamar Jackson's trying to do everything, and he just can't. And then you double Zay Flowers because Henry's not out there. And now all
Right.
of a sudden you got 3 guys on your starting lineup that have done nothing. So
Right.
it's boom or bust, right? So you
Right.
just got to be able to live with it.
Right. I agree. Let's do Cretch next. All right. I'll let you break him down, Maximus.
All right, started it with Josh Allen, which in a super flex should have been probably the 1.01 pick. Came back with Barkley, which is great. Lad McConkey, Scary Terry, and Worthy, which other than Worthy, who's just got arrested. If he didn't, like, here's the thing with Worthy, man, because they're not saying girlfriend or anything. I think it's a guy. Like, what if it's a cousin tried to get money off of him?
Yeah, that's what I was
This will be a
thinking.
nothing, right? So
Right.
But in the 5th round, at the end of the 5th, it's well worth it. Chuba Hubbard had a great season last season. Hopefully he can continue that. Got into the politics a little bit last year, so that seemed to prove his on the field work ethic. And then finished off with Baker Mayfield, who's going to have Mike Evans go with for 1,000 yards. He's got all sorts of weapons. And Geno Smith. I'd probably get this an A.
Yep.
I love those first 4 picks, and then decent picks to finish it off for seasonal.
Right.
It's a fire team.
Yep. I agree. I say it's an A. Cretch, good job, bro. It's an A. Yeah, let me see. Ethan says, B, he was talking about me. I really hate the wide receivers, but the quarterbacks and A-Chain make me like the team. Let's see. Yeah, we said Cretch had an 18. Great job, Cretch. I don't have nothing bad to say about your team. You killed it. I love that you got Terry McLaurin, McConkey, Xavier Worthy. I really love Worthy this year. Chuba Hubbard, I think he's a top 5 running back. Baker Mayfield, we know what he is as your number 2. And then you got Jonas Smith. I don't think it follows, but I'm not going to sit here and discredit Jonas Smith. So let's go with RG team. You got Jalen Hurts and Jalen Daniels. I like that. You got long as the tush push stays, I think that's a great first pick. And Jaden Daniels, I think this is an up-and-coming quarterback. Trey McBride in the third, man. Ready to go get one of the top tight ends. It's hard. Like, if you got one of the top tight ends, you already winning. You winning in your league. James Cook, who's one of the most explosive running back. Love that. I know Maximus said he's going to break out this year. Alvin Kamara in the fifth is honey. T. Higgins in the sixth is gravy. Cortland Sutton in the seventh. I'm not a Cortland Sutton guy, but I can't knock him. He's the number one for that team. And then Rashid Shaheed. Man, this is a great team, man. The only thing I can nitpick is Jalen Hurts. If the tush push gets stopped, maybe this team goes down a little bit. I'm gonna say this is a team.
I would have rather see Burrow and Daniels there, and then that would have been like an A+ team.
Right, I can say that, but I ain't gonna knock Hurts when I know he can get 2 rushing touchdowns and save his fantasy week. You know, that's the only reason why I'm gonna give him the credit. But you're right, I could nitpick. That's what I was saying. I nitpick Hurts because it was a lot of quarterbacks. It was a lot of value right there. You could have went Burrow and Nix or Burrow
gets hurt on odd years though, so I couldn't do it.
What'd you say?
Burrow gets hurt on odd years. Like, it's his first year, season-ending injury. Third year, season-ending injury. Fifth year, I'll stick with Hurts.
Right. So yeah, man, I think it's AA-. What you think it is, Maximus?
Yeah, I agree. A, probably an A.
Right.
Like, if there was Burrows there, I'd go A+. So that would be the difference to me.
Good team, RG. Grant says, nice team, RG. I probably would have took Rashid over Sutton or Shaheed.
Took them both on the turn, so it doesn't matter.
All right, so guys, anything y'all want to say? Let me bring us all back up. Hold on, how to do this? Oh, that's not it. There we go. So, anything you want to say, RG, before we get out of here?
Just thanks for having me, man. Finally got to come
man,
up.
I appreciate you. Yeah, man, guys, he's gonna be coming up a lot more. This is the type of show that I'm gonna be doing. I want to bring up different guys to give different opinions. Because I think it helps everybody. It helps me, it helps those guys, it helps everybody. We get different opinions. You got to be like water. You can't just be rigid. Anything you want to say, Maximus?
Well, just find me on Spotify and Fantasy Blind Spot. And thanks for having me.
Yeah, anytime. Yep. Anytime, Kenny. All right, guys, y'all be safe. See y'all later. Peace.